Hello and welcome to Hardcast. And let's all get romantic, along with a little crazy. I'm Humphrey Erm.
And my name is Chris.
Lifeline, give me A&A, The Adventures of Archer and Armstrong, Volume 2, Romance and Road Trips.
Yeah, if you've noticed, we sound a little bit different because we were in the same room.
Woo!
Okay, yeah, don't be too loud. We have neighbors. Archer and Armstrong issue 5, The Date. Armstrong decides to separate from Archer to go looking for his wife. Archer takes this time to call Faith up for a date. He flies to LA and they go to a nice dinner and a movie. All the while, there's this guy tracking them, while complaining into his walkie-talkie about the prices of things in LA. The date goes well, but right before they can kiss, the loan sharks attack. They want to be accepted into the sect, and they think bringing Archer's head will get them in. But this is all for naught, because of course Archer and Faith beat them all up, and also the sect doesn't even exist anymore. Faith and Archer fly off and have a kiss. Archer flies back to Armstrong, and the two set off to go find Armstrong's wife.
Right. Yes, a little correction. They wanted to get the Armstrong's head.
Oh, okay, whatever.
So Archer would lead them to them, they were planning.
Oh, okay, whatever.
So I really like this issue.
No, me neither.
You didn't?
No.
I liked it.
Oh, I thought you said you didn't really like this issue.
No, I liked it. That's cute.
No, I didn't like it at all.
So, and I'm assuming then, based on what they're saying, that this takes place after the Faith crossover, or whatever you'd call it.
What do you mean, Faith crossover?
Well, you know, the Faith Volume 2, when he went to the convention with her.
Okay.
Yeah, yes, in terms, because we don't quite know sometimes when these are being released and what events transpire first.
Mm-hmm.
So, but they did mention that, last time I met up with her, we kind of had to fight some people.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess it's a little bit too sweet. I'd agree with that loan shark guy who's spying on them all the time. Because it's there's no, and again, it's not supposed to have any drama. There's not a relationship kind of thing going on here. It's just supposed to be a really cute little moment.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's nice.
I don't know. I don't really like Faith. I mean, she's very, I feel like she's very egotistical in this whole thing. She makes the entire date about her. And I feel like Archer is just kind of too polite to take any kind of, I mean, he's basically just accepting everything that she's saying. He's not really talking about himself a lot in this book. I mean, even then when she asks about time travel, before he can really properly answer, she's already talking about, is it like Doctor Who or is it like Lost or whatever? Which for me just feels a little bit, I don't know. She doesn't seem like the kind of person I would like to hang out with too much. I mean, you were also a lot like that, where you just go on and on about a topic, and at least lately you've been doing better with the context clues of someone not talking to you, or not replying, or not adding anything to the conversation, making it mean that we're done.
Yeah, now I just get passive aggressive when I notice that.
Oh yeah.
Oh darn, it's not noticeable. Are we keeping this silence?
Is that a joke?
Yes, it was.
I don't get it.
Well, it's the idea that before I was clueless and now I'm being passive aggressive about it.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I guess we don't want to talk about it because you're not answering.
I don't get what are you talking about? You're not making jokes.
It's too highbrow for you.
Uh-huh.
Like the next issue.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah, so basically just, I don't know. This book just kind of felt I don't know. They're really pushing this whole Faith and Archer relationship. And sometimes I feel like it's also kind of weird because you kind of know that they're going to get together in the end.
Well, yeah, I mean, we know the Book of Death.
Right. And so I feel like all of this is somehow, it's kind of unnecessary to kind of, it's kind of like with Harry Potter and Ginny. In the books, it was so out of left field, the whole relationship. like that they actually got together at the end, you know, that kind of thing. It was just like a what? So much so that there's actually like a conspiracy theory, a theory out there, like a fan theory that Ginny did give him a love potion at some point.
Shippers.
And then to retroactively work on it in the movies, they make it much more clear that there's a relationship building there. And I kind of feel like it's the same thing in this issue. It's just someone decided that Faith and Archer were going to get together, and now people are trying to make it work. And I personally just do not feel that it works, because I feel like Archer's pretty much just, what's the word for it? He's kind of like, I don't know. It's like a phrase for it. Like it's
a beta kick. Sorry, I've heard the term.
Yeah. No, but he's like humoring her. You know, it really feels like he's not really that interested in all this kind of stuff. I mean, I feel like, again, maybe I don't know. Maybe it's real good, you know, and he feels like this is something that he needs to do to get into her, you know, good terms with her or whatever. But I just feel like the fact that she is just giving him a list of movies and TV shows to watch, you know, and just kind of like, oh, watch this stuff. And then when he doesn't understand what frack is, and it's like, oh, what, haven't you watched Battlestar Galactica yet? And he goes, oh yeah, I'm kind of enjoying it. I don't know. It just feels kind of pushy.
Yeah, no, I see what you mean.
It's just, again, I'm not Archer right in this situation, but I would feel that that's just so annoying to be constantly like, I mean, if you want to suggest something to someone, you never go in and be like, oh, it's the best thing, and here's like a list of like, I mean, can you imagine, like, these are TV shows that are long running. Can you imagine that she would be like, here, have this 100-hour long show that I want you to watch, plus this other 100-hour show, plus this movie and this thing and this thing and these comic books, and God, that's just so annoying. I would hate that. And I don't know, I feel like she's not bringing anything to the table either, like from his side. Like maybe because he's kind of a blank slate in that sense, that he doesn't have like these interests in that way. But still, she's not forthcoming in any way, kind of saying like, what are your interests? You know, I don't see at any point. I mean, she asks him a question about his life, and then immediately follows up with her own shit. And I just feel like I don't feel like this is like a relationship that I would, you know, enjoy really. I just feel like it's weird. I don't know. It's like, here's my favorite movie. Let's watch my favorite movie. Not what movie do you want to watch? No, let's watch my favorite movie.
Yeah, no, I see what you mean, and you're absolutely right. But I think the whole thing with it is more, I mean, it's the usual thing when you have like these kind of superhero characters. You know, we have suddenly scenarios that aren't very common in real life. I'm not saying there aren't cults and all that in real life, but okay, this isn't the guy who, yes, is a bit sheltered. As he said, he only was allowed to watch these two movies growing up. And he hasn't had a chance to watch anything since then. Again, not that watching movies and shows is like the be-all, end-all of like a personality.
Yeah.
But it's kind of, as you said, he is a bit of a blank slate and is supposed to be this sort of like innocent little boy.
Yeah.
So she's kind of, again, yes, trying to, like, I think they're trying to have a bit of fun here in terms of, rather than being this whole, like, had this been like more of a classical work, you know, she would have taken him traveling more, which I guess is unnecessary too, since he has traveled.
What do you mean traveling more?
No, but it would be more like, oh, then I'll take you to this point here, you know, like this mountaintop here where, you know, can see the stars, or, you know, something more like, what do you say, cultural in some sense. But the idea is more about, you know, because that's the thing with Faith, and she's been like that since Harbinger Volume 1.
Yeah.
You know, she's a geek, she's a nerd, and supposed to be sort of not necessarily a stand-in for the reader, but to be that kind of person, who, well, again, as we've seen her in the previous volumes of her own series, you know, she uses pop culture as shorthand for the current situation.
Yeah.
So it's that kind of thing there where, It's not so much that he needs that in of itself. I do think he genuinely does enjoy it because it's something very foreign to him. Because with Armstrong, he only gets like the drinking and like his tall tales.
Yeah.
But with Faith, it's more of a, here's the thing I really like. Archer doesn't have anything that he really likes because the only thing he ever cared about turned out to be a lie. So I feel, to me, it works. My only issue with it being, of course, it's just a one-issue thing here. It's not like, the whole story. But it's just so super sweet, like very saccharine. I mean, whenever you have someone's pointing out, like, how can you always say the right thing? And it's like, I can't help but open my mouth and tongue out and because I don't know, it's, for me, I always like more relationships with a bit of more, not drama, but just some little more, some more hassle. And this is just kind of, all right, I guess they're just perfect for each other.
Yeah, but those kind of relationships also exist.
So sure, probably,
but what I'm talking about with this relationship, I just feel like my problem with it is just that it's so one-sided. That I feel like, she should calm down for a second and let him talk a little bit too. Maybe she would also learn something from him, instead of, having, her talk about the time travel the way that she knows it. Why not let him explain it to you how it actually works?
Yeah, but I guess it's simply kind of cut off on our end.
Yeah, I know.
Because, she's...
I mean, it does go out to the guy.
She's asking, and then it cuts to that guy. So I'm assuming he probably talked about it there.
Yeah, but still, I mean, it doesn't feel that way when she's pushing so much other stuff onto him. And she's kind of projecting, like, this personality, like... I feel like she's trying to make him a nerd so that she can have the best of both worlds. So she can basically be like, I want to have a really hot guy who's really cute and whatever, but also I want him to like my nerdy stuff. And because he doesn't like the nerdy stuff, I need to groom him to like my nerdy stuff. But that's what it feels like. I mean, it's
No, it's great. It's just, I don't know. I always love it when that's obviously not the intention in the story. And I just love it when someone can have that kind of, and again, I've had reactions like this too to certain stories. Yeah. So like we were talking about that, I mean, this is more, I think a lot of people felt like I did. When Chris picked me up from the airport, I just mentioned due date because I realized we both kind of looked like Zach Galifianakis and Robert Downey Jr. I'll let you, the listeners, guess who's who.
Why don't we put a post on our Facebook page of the due date and you and I next to each other.
But my point there when I was discussing that movie, spoilers for Due Date, for those who care. It's just the whole idea, like you can see the intention of the director and writer that, it's supposed to be like, an odd couple. They don't quite Robert Downey Jr. doesn't quite get Zach Galifianakis and doesn't like him. But eventually, gains to accept him and appreciates him for who he is, as a friend. But there's a plot element in that film which showcases that it's all Zach Galifianakis' fault. Well, his character, not the actor.
Yeah.
And they still try to kind of go with it after that reveal. And it's like, no, I'm sorry, but this information just brings a different light to everything. And this supposedly charming road trip adventure with these two suddenly is more of an awful sociopath.
Yeah.
And again, obviously, and they don't go with that. They didn't keep going with the film as if it was more charming and more. And that's the same thing here then, except that I don't feel that way. I just kind of feel. I guess I just feel this issue in general is just a little bit. I guess pointless would be one way of saying it, but it's just kind of it's sweet. It's a nice little breather episode, I guess you could say. Like we just kind of had a big finale with fighting like the god of the parties in the last volume.
Yeah.
It's kind of nice having this little more, let's go on a date and we still get to have some admittedly boring action.
Yeah.
Issue 6. Armstrong and Archer are taking it easy, postponing meeting Armstrong's wife due to Armstrong being a bit unsure about changing things. While Archer is meditating, Armstrong wakes him up with a terrible fart, which Archer doesn't appreciate. They go to a diner and eat, when they're confronted by circus performers who kind of look like Armstrong. The promise of vodka gets him to follow them to their circus. The circus has a Soviet theme, and it turns out to be run by an old-timey communist Russian. Armstrong has enough of the performance and leaves, but he and Archer are then attacked by the communist scientists, leading to a fight. Meanwhile, Mary Maria is reprimanded by the Council of Sisters of Perpetual Darkness for her actions last volume, but she won't take that lying down.
Yeah.
Well, now we started the actual arc of this volume.
Can't believe you had to put that fart thing in the...
Yeah, and I now realize I didn't put it into my second, what's called summary, so kind of no point now.
Yeah. Oh, it's so stupid.
Yeah, well, it fits in with the character.
Armstrong kind of looks like in that panel on page 49, like before he leans over to fart. He kind of looks like that frog, that Pepe frog.
Oh, with the hand. Yeah, the hand does it, yeah.
Yeah.
I guess Armstrong's alt-right.
Glossing over that.
So, but I gotta say, yes, something on the... I mean, it's the same artist for this whole volume, except for the, I guess you could say, the backup segment. That'll summarize separately. It's a really nice artwork. It reminds me a bit of Tom Fowler from the first Quantum and Woody volume. No, but it's sort of cartoonish. Like, it's very... They're all very proportionate. Like, no one's really, crazy proportions or anything.
You say in a issue where we see literal freaks.
Yes, no, of course. But, even then, they're proportionate within their freakishness.
Yes, proportionate within their freakiness.
No, but, it's not like, oh, yeah, this artist likes drawing really big eyes or really big ears or... And I just love that combination because the expressions, they're so good. Like, it's none of this, like, very static posing or anything.
Yeah.
I mean, again, not that it's juvenile, but his Archer's reaction to the fart. It's just, no, but it's like the face. Like, yes, this is a creative face. It's not just a gelling face or gritting teeth face. It's like, no, this is disgust. Even getting some tears in there to illustrate the point.
Yeah, shouldn't have been in there in the first place.
Oh. So farts are universal. Everyone loves farts.
Yeah, true. So totally. I don't understand how everyone says that everyone kind of looks like Armstrong. Like, I don't see it at all. I mean, yeah, those three circus people, they look like each other, but I don't see any resemblance to Armstrong.
I was also kind of curious about that. It seems to be the nose a bit. And you can see, like, with the facial hair on the two men, like, again, they have different styles, but they kind of follow the shape.
Yeah, but still, I think something like that is really hard to do in comics, I guess, but it's just...
Well, honestly, it should be easier because you can actually draw it.
Yeah, but the thing is, they have these beady small eyes, and Armstrong doesn't. Like, his eyes are much bigger, and I feel like, I don't know, it just feels so weird. I mean...
No, I agree. It wasn't quite clear enough. Like, it feels weird for them to mention it then.
Yeah, because they were all like, oh, what are these, my children? It's like, no, what? What are you talking about? Why would they be your children? Until they, like, at some point later mention that they have the same face. And it's just like, wait, what? I don't know. I just didn't get it at all. It doesn't look like it at all.
No, I agree. I mean, I kind of just went with it. But yeah, it's not something... it's hard to do it then because they didn't want to do the whole thing that, no, they're not clones. As they were, discussing afterwards as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. It was a weird thing. I mean, I like the concept that they, go into depth. I like the concept that they go into depth later. But yeah, in general, the way it's presented here, I mean, it's amusing enough anyways. Wow, these old-timey circus performers. But yeah, there's still nothing... Maybe if Armstrong had something like, something really stupid, like, not saying people with a mole on their face is stupid. Like, something that's very like, oh, there's a mole.
They have something really stupid like a mole. Not saying that moles are stupid.
No, but in terms of narrative sense, like, yes, he has to have this mole, so we can have it clear that these have some connection.
Yeah. I can't believe you glossed over the fact that there's literally Stalin is in this.
Yeah, I don't know. It wasn't literally Stalin, was it?
No, it wasn't literally Stalin, but he looks exactly like Stalin. And weirdly, Stalin is not one of the portraits that's on the wall of the research lab.
Well, they did mention that, we're jumping ahead here, but they did mention that they defected. So maybe they don't appreciate, him himself.
Oh, but they appreciate the proper communist leaders like Marx and Lenin.
Yeah, but, I guess most of those people do. They tend to ignore the people who killed the millions of people. Though I would put what's called Marx and Lenin in that field too, because that's a different conversation.
Marx did nothing wrong.
He did everything wrong. I'm not for book burning, but anyways.
I have his book.
All right, well, I guess we're having a bonfire tonight. Anyways.
Actually, I gave it back to my dad because he was actually going to... Yeah, anyway.
No, but again, this is kind of like typical Archer and Armstrong, which I think might be, I wouldn't say an issue, but just kind of, like, for me, Archer and Armstrong is all about these sort of wacky adventures. And sometimes it kind of, I'm not going to say phoned in, but it sometimes feels kind of like, okay, what's a wacky thing,
Yeah.
Oh, I know, old-timey Soviets, but let's have them be in a circus too. Oh, and one of the scientists has to be a bear, of course.
Because, bears and
Russia.
Soviet and Russia, yeah.
And it just kind of gets a little... They have a theme going on, so it's not at least, hodgepodgey.
Yeah.
And I honestly kind of like the origin of the villains. But yeah, it's just sometimes like... It's kind of like that trope name. I think it's called something like Super Ninja Pirate Zombie Robot or something.
Yeah.
Where just, it's funny because it's a lot of different things that don't make sense. Like, I don't know. It's fine.
What was that one clown Viking thing that I saw?
That was in Time Walker.
That was in Time Walker,
Yes.
The clown Vikings, yeah.
And I remember you mentioned that because you were trying to rip on me for like Vikings or something.
Yeah, because I said that was more the ancestry that you would have.
And then I just mentioned how, like, I'm fine with that, but it just kind of feels out of nowhere. Like, just, okay, Vikings, but how can we make them silly?
Right.
I mean, as I think I even mentioned,
I'm pretty sure someone in the writer's room screamed out, let's make them women. And it's like, no.
No, but something like in that case, I would have thought it would have been fun if it was the reverse. Like, you'd have like all these burly Vikings being afraid of these like British monks or something coming over to take over. Oh no, it's the British are coming. Anyways.
Wish they wouldn't have been called the British back then, but
You're right. Deepest lore.
Deepest lore, yeah.
History is the deepest lore. I'm sorry, I'm seeing someone learning about history and going all like, oh god, this is deepest lore.
Anyway, but there's not really much going on in this comic. I mean, what I think is a little bit annoying and it's kind of annoying, but it's just like, I hate it when I have to say like, but I had to read so much. I didn't buy or want to read a comic because I needed to read. But it's so text heavy, this comic or this issue, and like the rest of the issues as well. And I don't know if that's like just a thing about comedy, is that the comedy in these kind of comics come from like it's a verbal comedy. It's not like obviously it can't be like a slapstick comedy because you can't really do that in pictures.
Oh, I disagree, but yeah.
Yeah, but a specific type of slapstick. You can't like do pratfalls and that kind of stuff in comics necessarily because I don't know. I don't know.
I would suggest that one Spanish comic does that all the time because it's just people getting hurt all the time.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, just the idea is just that like when I was just going through this, and I mean, I don't care about the lore. Like I don't care about why these Russians defected. I don't care about what they did in order to like what their goals are ultimately, all this kind of stuff, because I know that it doesn't matter because they're going to be beaten anyway. And yeah, it's kind of weird because so much of the talking goes on between like I don't know. I mean, just kind of scrolling through this, and it's just them kind of moaning back and forth about like, ugh, this is so stupid. We don't want to be here. And I don't know. It all feels so unnecessary somehow. And that's why I feel like, something like this would work better as a television series, I feel. Because again, I mean, maybe comics is just not the medium for me, because I would rather read this as prose than read it as a comic. Because again, with I don't feel like I enjoy the panels enough when I have to read a lot, because I'm just like wanting to get through it, and I'm reading and reading, just bouncing from and I think what I just want is to have more of a structure to the dialogue then, because this way I'm always kind of searching for the next balloon, and I always have to be like, oh wait, who's talking now? Sometimes I have to like then follow the line and be like, okay, who is now talking? And I don't know. I feel like these kind of quick quips and going back and forth and talking and making verbal jokes would just work better in a situation where it's like a television situation where you can kind of just sit back and listen and just have it all happen around you.
Yeah, and let the actors' chemistry and acting, do the work.
Yeah.
No, I see what you mean. Though honestly, for me, the bigger issue that you kind of brought up that I kind of forgot to remember myself was kind of the self-aware, like, no, screw this is stupid. Which is always tricky to do. I mean, I do feel the series and the characters for this, for the rebooted Valiant have existed long enough to do kind of a joke like that.
Yeah, but if they think it's stupid, then why are we watching? Exactly,
and that's the thing. And again, it doesn't mean that they, it has to be serious or like,
no.
This is, but more of a. And even then, even if they were to go that route, it would be more fun than if it went more extreme about it.
Yeah,
like Archer and Armstrong going out of their way to avoid all this craziness.
Right, and you see it like happening in the background, or
more crazy things happening either way.
Yeah,
because then there's there's excitement, like oh no, they're still coming. No matter what they do, they still get
yeah.
But the way Armstrong's acting here, and I know it's supposed to be a bit, as he mentions later in I think the last issue. He has a little bit of a moment in terms of, I guess I'm just, upset at seeing you so happy without me or something, but I don't know, it feels like, trying to have a good time. Yeah. And he's just being very prissy, very, what, no, screw this. Not even all the vodka in the world will keep me here.
Yeah.
Like, seriously, dude? I mean, you've kind of doing all crazy things anyways. Like, this is your draw, this is your line. And as I mentioned, there was what's called these next 3 issues have a little backup segment called Bagmaker's Apprentice. And in the first one, the spirit who took on the form of a 90s singer has unwillingly teamed up with Davy the Mackerel from last volume. Turns out he was an apprentice to the man who made Armstrong's bag and was its first victim. He now wants to take over the world, but can he keep his data entry job before that? It was a bit quicker there because it wasn't as many pages. But yeah, we get to kind of see more, because I was wondering about that myself with the previous volume. Because I remember him showing up in the previous volume and it was kind of just, brushed off.
Yeah.
And I think we even mentioned like, that's an obvious seed. But I don't know, like so far it's not very interesting.
No.
And it feels like they're trying to do something with Davy the Mackerel. Like he's supposed to be this really funny guy we all love. Like in terms of like, he's the breakout character.
Yeah.
And honestly, if they kind of were to, for the third volume, play with that in terms of that they're trying, like not the writers, but, oh man, I'm supposed to be this breakout character. No, no one cares. Yeah. But it just doesn't, I don't know, like it really feels devoid of anything, not just because they don't have anything to do with them until the next 2 issues.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't know. I don't feel they work as a duo. Like I don't really quite get the.
No. It's just like with Due Date. You don't understand why these 2 people are together.
Mm. Well, I mean, it's not. I mean, again, the way I see it here is that Davy does seem to try to reel him back to stop him from taking over the world.
You think that's it?
Well, he does mention several times, but it's hard to tell if he's making a show.
Yeah, because I honestly, if this guy was let loose on the world, I don't think he would succeed much.
No, but I guess he's trying to keep him from maybe finding some magical spell or something that will unleash his true form. Or
I still doubt that he would be able to. I feel like he's just a loser that isn't, capable of anything.
But even that then kind of makes it a bit confusing because again, he was this cloud, this like spirit cloud thing in the first volume.
Yeah.
And, he needed a form and he like read the mind of that one sister.
Yeah.
And became that singer. So kind of like, okay, so he had some form of power, but then by doing this, he now is just a normal mortal.
Yeah.
Which like, okay, fine, but I don't know. It just doesn't feel like anything's really set up with this. It's supposed to be funny and I don't know. I mean, there's some fun with the idea of, we've had things. I know you don't like. I know you didn't like a Golan Insatiable, but they're kind of going for a bit of that. Then as well as like the Invader Sim kind of thing. Having a, like a inept person being like, oh, I shall destroy you all, for I am the rightful ruler. Which again is fun in that sense, but it's just I don't know. It's not really selling it to me.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny, like it's very like we kind of know exactly. It's kind of one of my favorite quotes from Aqua Teen Hunger Force. So when someone tells a joke and then Meatwad says, "I get it. It ain't making me laugh, but I get it." I'm sorry, I just love the show.
Okay, never seen it.
But that's the thing that's how I feel throughout a lot of these jokes here. Is like I get it, it's not making me laugh, but I get it.
Well, you were laughing quite a bit.
Yeah, but that's the other. That was this part here. I like the main story, not the backup.
Okay.
But I guess that's about it. I will say I do like the last panel of the Bagmaker's Apprentice, part 1.
Which is because he used the panel layout nice.
Yeah, he has this huge laugh, and the laugh just sort of, how do you say?
Bleeds into the
border of the panel. Again, I'm a sucker for that.
Yeah, I like that too. All right, let's take a moment to thank our sponsors. Dolce & Gabbana, the new line of handbags available exclusively on Etsy.
When visiting Podunk, Pennsylvania, don't forget to refill your tummies at the Happy Dog Diner. We've got deals you can't growl at, and our puppy menus are great for the kids. So come down and chow down like the dogs you are, only at the Happy Dog Diner. I'm not sure. I'm sorry for any Philadelphians. I don't know what the Philadelphia accent is, but yes. No, Pennsylvania.
Yeah,
so
well, you offended 2 people now.
Yes.
Great.
I offended 2 states.
Yep, now I'm going to leave both of those in.
I even said Pennsylvania, then I said Philadelphia.
Archer and Armstrong, number 7. Next stop, Clowntown. It's still called Next Stop Clowntown, it's weird. The fight ends and the 2 meet the freaks that are all in the back together. We get some backstory about how the genetic changes were being made. Basically, they wanted to combine the DNA of the DNA of Armstrong to make them immortal, but instead it just made them into monsters. For some reason, Archer and Armstrong take part in the circus act, and when it goes wrong, all hell breaks loose and another fight commences. The fight leads all the way into the lab where the DNA combination is taking place, and they find the source of Armstrong's DNA. It's a finger. In the B story, Mary Maria is almost assassinated, but her sisters kill off the would-be assassins. They question why so few were sent when they look outside to see that they are surrounded. And then the extra story we'll do later.
Yeah. So this I liked a lot better coming in, because have you ever seen that movie Freaks?
Nope.
I mean, this is just one big reference to it.
One of us.
Gooble gobble. Yeah, no, but like all of them are based on that movie.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, some of them might be something else, like that Lobster Woman. I think that's something else, but yeah. But I know it's not like, it's kind of very, I'm not sure about lowest common denominator, but I really like that mini Armstrong.
Yeah, I don't know.
No, but it's
I kind of hope he dies, just because I know that he's in the next, like, he's being taken along.
Yeah.
And I don't really like having how do I say this without being offensive?
What, the mini version of the main character?
No, but taking along the stupid version, or like taking along someone that's just not going to help. And I mean,
it's Scrappy Doo.
Yeah, well, maybe not Scrappy Doo, but I mean, Scrappy Doo is fine. I just feel like a lot of times it's my problem. My biggest problem is with the language. Like this guy, all he does is like do those weird noises, right?
Gub, 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 gub.
Yeah, he just goes gub, 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 right?
And purrs too.
Yeah. But that's what I mean. I just like if I'm watching a show or a movie, I don't want to have a character that either has a stunted talk. Like I'm not talking like stuttering or anything like that. I'm talking like think about even Jar Jar Binks or something like that, even like that. Like Misa going, no, I don't want to fucking hear that shit. And it's not generally Jar Jar, because I don't give a shit about Jar Jar Binks. I'm not a Star Wars person.
I love Jar Jar.
Okay. But like people who can't, like characters who can't articulate themselves and have some sort of like, I was reading a while ago, I was reading Percy Jackson. And I think in the second book, there's like a Cyclops that comes into their team, and he's in the beginning. And then when they get to their camp, there's a chance that the Cyclops was going to stay. And I was like, oh God, please stay. Because he was supposed to be dumb, like a little bit left behind. Like he was supposed to be like at the mental age of like a child or something like that. And he would talk like that too. Like he would have like he wouldn't put the language together correctly. Like he wouldn't speak correctly. He would always speak in like this kind of like a somewhere between like just like someone who was not very intelligent. And it was just so annoying to read. And then I actually noticed by the time the book was continuing, I feel like the author might have also felt that way because suddenly he was speaking much more eloquently. And I understand because I just do not want to have a character coming along who's just constantly doing goop goop all the time. And I don't know, it's just weird. And I feel like, I mean, I don't want to be like, we shouldn't include people with disabilities.
No, but there's a difference between, there's a speech impediment or something.
Yeah.
And like in this case here in particular, because he's more of it's just kind of like a little mascot character.
Right.
It's supposed to be like, hey, look, it's like, mini version. Oh, that's fun. Let's have him along.
Yeah. I mean, in that point, I also hated it when Quantum and Woody took the goat along.
Yeah, because it's just like this little sidekick.
Yeah, it's like, we don't need this character. I mean, yeah, you're going to write something to make him important, so that everyone who would have had a problem with it could have been like, all right, well, I guess the goat did this, so it helps. And it's the same thing they're going to do with this kid. He's also going to do something. But you know who he reminds me of?
No.
The Nostalgia Critic.
Holy shit, yes. Oh, God, I didn't. But now when you said it.
I just saw it in that one panel on 85.
Oh, okay.
When he's hugging.
Okay, because the first one with him, too, I felt like his first appearance on 82.
Yeah, oh my God.
And it's funny because
he has
Armstrong doesn't look like him.
No, he doesn't.
But the hat looks more like that there. And
yeah, and he also has the beard.
Yeah, because not quite it doesn't come up to that point, so it's following. Yeah. But yeah, it looks like a little demented and stuff.
And especially because he has the red inside his jacket. So it also kind of feels like the tie that he has.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
No, okay, I can't unsee that now.
No, sorry.
It's too bad we're not allowed to like him anymore.
Yeah.
So, it could have been a fun thing to tweet at him.
Yeah, I've stopped watching his videos years ago.
Oh, yeah, no, me too. But now it's kind of like it came out, I saw it was recommended to me because I watch all these kinds of analysis and retrospectives. So obviously he'll be recommended.
Yeah.
And they had an hour-long Fox Kids special.
Okay.
And I'm like, oh, damn, that sounds actually interesting. And again, what's the matter if I watch it? But
yeah.
It's sometimes you kind of feel a bit of principle on it. Like,
wait, did you watch it or not?
No, I haven't.
Oh, okay.
That's the thing. What I mean, like, oh man, I actually would like to see that because I've watched any time it was something I knew. Yes, to see like, oh, okay, so what was his take on this?
Yeah.
And usually it's just as most of these reviewers, it's hey, let's summarize the film and then we get a review out of it.
Right.
Which is like, fine, whatever, but it's not really a review. You're basically giving us the crappy version of the film.
Right.
Anyways. No, I don't know. I just felt it was kind of fun. So with these characters, and it's kind of sad, of course, with the way they've like become, as I mentioned, like, some of the ones who were better off, like the strong man and stuff like that, get to be up front, and these guys just get to be in the back.
Social commentary.
I'm not sure. Yeah, well, I guess it could work, but it implies that there's some people who are genetically modified and then get. Well, I guess
there's some people that are beautiful and some people are, ugly.
True. So we get some fan service with Archer though. That's kind of fun. Not that it really matters because it just ends with a clown getting stabbed and then it's kind of over with. So it was just totally pointless.
Totally pointless. I'm saying it just feels so pointless, this whole thing.
And that's the thing. It feels like, okay, what's some things that can happen, but there's no substance. There's no... Because I remember you liked the first volume a lot. So of this one.
Yeah.
So because it had a bit more of a... You seem to like that kind of like the drinking problem with Armstrong, like with the flashbacks with him and his friend.
Mm-hmm.
As well as then you like the art a lot too, which you can't say there's anything wrong with the art in this one.
No, of course not, no.
But yeah, I agree in the sense like there was a theme there about you know how you can behave when drunk and it was just through an exaggerated means by having the literal god of parties, Bacchus.
Yeah.
I was thinking of the Greek name. But yeah, that kind of thing. It's but here
what are you talking about? Bacchus is the Greek name.
No, that's a Roman name.
No.
I'm pretty sure.
Bacchus is the...
At least in Smite it is.
In Smite?
They do that. They split up Roman and Greek gods there for whoever, so they can kind of trick and think that there's more than... So it doesn't feel like they take over everything.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Yeah, of course. Yeah, you're right. Yep. Because I was thinking Dionysus. Yeah. Yep.
Anyways, but that's the thing here is like, it kind of feels like they had all these kind of visual ideas. Because, again, on a visual level, I'm liking it a lot. Because like, okay, cool, a circus. And
I've never been a fan of the circus.
I liked them a lot. So when I was a kid, on the Canary Islands, which just makes me think that the fact that they sent elephants on a boat to that island.
Yeah, I just generally also, I mean, this was before, I went vegetarian and all that stuff. I still was not a huge fan of the way that they treated animals and stuff. So I was never a fan of going to the circuses.
I don't know how they treated the circus there treated them, but I got to ride on the elephant, so that made me happy.
Yeah.
I have a picture somewhere. But I don't know, just for me, certain lowbrow humor stuff works well for me, like Armstrong without pants. Because it's fun. Because suddenly it's a lot more embarrassing and silly.
Mm-hmm. And you thought I was too lowbrow for the humor in this.
I was teasing you. Speaking of lowbrow, this was one of the times you heard me laugh here. What's called?
You mean I and everyone else in this building heard you laugh?
Ho ho ho. No, but when the last page when they reveal where they gotten the DNA from Armstrong.
It's the day you gave us the finger.
I laughed so hard at that because that is so great. It's wordplay because, he literally, well, again, as we find out, he didn't give it, but it was the middle finger and he was flipping it off. I'm sorry. I love it.
In our little extra story, the spirit has finally put a handbag on Etsy and is waiting for one to be sold. He goes to his day job and is given a special assignment to pick up special fabrics in Pennsylvania. While there, he sees Archer and Armstrong and decides to follow them.
Yeah, just continuing.
Yeah, it's like on to the next one. Because, these aren't fun. These aren't interesting. And also, there's something that happens in the next issue that kind of gives them a reason to have had them. But then also, the thing that they do is not important enough that I feel like it was worth it to have that story.
Yeah, we'll discuss it next issue.
Yeah, so why don't you just get to it then? Because there's nothing I can say about it. It's basically literally a guy puts his bag online, wonders why no one buys it immediately, and then goes to work.
Yeah, no, I agree. So it's again, it's like I said, it feels like some kind of like comedy duo thing, but it just isn't quite nailing the comedy part.
Yeah.
Issue 8, Stalingrad, 1943. Armstrong is hanging out with Gilad, who is posing as a Russian soldier when they get attacked by a sniper. Armstrong loses his middle finger that is picked up by a pre-bear Ivan. And we are now in the present in the lab. Turns out they were grafting his DNA to normal humans in an attempt at immortality. But all failed. Instead, they're just ugly and fall apart without medicine. Just as they're about to be experimented on, the freaks from last issue attack, resulting in the whole lab getting destroyed. Armstrong is saved by a bullet from nowhere, and the two finally leave, with the mini Armstrong with them. They finally reach his wife, who turns out to look like a little old lady. Meanwhile, Mary Maria and her followers have survived the first onslaught of assassins, and are ready for more.
And why don't you immediately do the extra story, because it's all one thing.
Bagmaker's Apprentice Part 3. Dumbbucket aims at Armstrong to kill him, while Davy tries to convince him not to. Luckily, a phone call from his work makes him miss and shoots the strongman from the main story. He's forced to drive back now to New York, but managed to sell a handbag on Etsy, so all is well.
Ugh, the worst.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Had it been anyone other than Armstrong that he saved, I mean, he's immortal.
Yes, but even then, anyone could have gotten out of that situation without having to have a stray Deus Ex Machina bullet save them. Even I wouldn't even consider Archer in much danger in that situation.
No, but at least there would have been,
but
something
still.
resembling it.
But also not only the fact, because you know how I'm talking about like all this, you can use like chance and stuff like that to get your characters into trouble but not out of it. And especially with this here, it's just like the fact that he aims at, think about all the probability stuff that has to be part of this. First of all, Armstrong has to be in the right position and has to be in the same line as the strongman. The phone has to ring right when he's about to shoot. And it's just way too much stuff that has to happen for this to work. And it just does not feel genuine. It doesn't feel good. It just feels totally unnecessary. And part of what I'm just thinking is that in some writers' meeting, they were talking about the next issue, the next volume that they were going to be making, and they wanted to do it about this villain, this guy, this musician guy, and they said, "Hey, let's do something with this guy," and no one could really come up with a good idea. This is what I'm thinking. What happened is that they're going back and forth, going like, well, "What should we do with this character?" And no one could come up with something really good, something really interesting. So they decided to scrap it, and then they realized, you know what? I don't ever want to do anything with this character anymore. And then they're like, well, we have to kind of pay it off a little bit. Well, why don't we just add it somehow in here? He becomes like a salaryman or whatever, and then he does his thing. That's the only way I can explain why they would add something so subpar into this kind of comic, where they literally have like 3 pages at the end of the comic to explain where this guy is. And it would not surprise me if we never saw him again.
Yeah, I don't know. I get the feeling because they've really been pushing this Davy the Mac role because he's in the character listing every issue.
Oh yeah.
Like they did that last volume too, even though he just appeared for such a short while. Which again, it seems like there could have been a fun idea about it. But yeah, I'm not sure if say wasted potential is the right word, but especially because they had this very specific goal in mind, from the last issue, like meeting his wife. And they make a point of it as that, Armstrong's kind of been going to all these roadside attractions, kind of like stalling for time. Which makes sense, I guess, he is that kind of person.
Mm-hmm.
But having a whole volume just to kind of reach the point they would have gotten to anyways.
Yeah.
Because it's not like, the one thing they've gotten now from this was, that little mini Armstrong.
Yeah.
And there might be some payoff with the 1% that showed up at the end.
Yeah, true.
So, we don't know yet. But okay, these are, I guess, what you could say, like the what would you call it? Well, the actual things that have happened, so to speak.
Yeah, what we got from this.
Yes, that's right. But otherwise than that, it just feels, because if this somehow led them to reach his wife or somehow did something about it.
Well, this was literally a pit stop.
Yeah, I know, and it's sort of on purpose, so it's hard to tell that it was wrong.
I don't know. It feels like a filler.
Yeah, but like very bad filler in a sense, because it really was just a crazy event.
Yeah.
But not interesting enough on its own.
Yeah.
And I know you didn't like the date one, but I felt that worked better as a filler because it was one issue.
Mm.
And, it did try to do something a bit different. Like it wasn't an action-oriented thing, or it's like, no, let's try to have them just go on a cute date. But here, it was trying to... It's the same writer, so it's not like it was a sudden change, in direction.
Yeah.
But it feels, like I was saying, it feels a little bit too much like someone, like the new writer. Okay, I've read through the first 5 volumes or 6, I guess, can't remember, or the first Archer and Armstrong. So I think I've gotten a feel for how these stories work. And then if this was the first draft, like the first one, like the first volume, it would feel like that in terms of, this guy kind of just got this superficial look of it.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, we need something crazy because they were fighting the 1% and... all these crazy kind of sects and stuff. So we have to get something cool here too. It's like, but that was, there's more of a point to that and it all led up to something. This really is just silly for the sake of silly. But even so, I like you were happy to see Gilad again, I'm sure, for a few panels.
Yeah, for like the 2-3 panels. I mean, come on.
But still, it's one of those things. And for me, it also makes me think then back to the Time Walker volume. Because I'm like, okay, because he was a Nazi there. No, again, not like I would always have to fit perfectly. Mm-hmm. But I'm just kind of curious, like, okay, when did that take place? Was it before or after this then?
Yeah.
And again, that's fine. It's cool, and again, it fits the character so well. And again, I genuinely found that hilarious with the middle finger.
I don't know. It was amusing, not hilarious. I wouldn't call it hilarious for me, but it was amusing.
What do you think of the whole? Because I forgot to write that in the summary for issue 3, but the callback to the fart.
That was the stupidest fucking thing ever. Can't believe that my boy Archer is like stooping down to that level.
Oh man, what is that stench? Prank, got you.
It's the stupidest thing.
Yeah, again, it is, but... Also, I'm pretty sure on page 127, those 2 dudes on the right in the first panel, pretty sure that's the writer and artist.
Yeah, that's what I was assuming too.
And is it kind of sad that the comic book writers and artists have a look? No, but like... I don't know, like, that's how I would, if I were to, like, just draw, like, someone asked me to draw, like, a comic book writer and artist.
Yeah.
Especially the plaid, too.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but that seems to be something that they have.
The open shirt and the,
And glasses and beard and not the best of shape.
Yeah. But then again, honestly, I think the reason why they stand out is because they're so detailed.
I guess you're right, because even if they're
in the foreground, so I mean, obviously it doesn't matter what they look like. I would still immediately be like, okay, who are these 2? And I guess the first thing you go to is artist and writer.
Yeah, because it's fun to do as it's kind of like also in the I think it was the 6th one of the Archer and Armstrong volumes, the first one with the Scientology parody.
Oh yeah.
So they also had like those they had those portraits on the walls for the famous retrologists, whatever this is called.
Yeah.
And then of course they had the writer and artist.
Yeah.
I love stuff like that though. That's fun. But one thing though we never really mentioned, the whole Mary Maria segment.
It's weird that was in there.
I mean, again, it feels like it's gonna be a payoff for the next one.
Yeah,
because I think there's only 3 volumes in this series. It seems like there's going to be a payoff for this series, like with the 3rd one, because from what I could tell when I downloaded a PDF for this one from Comixology, there are only 3 volumes, so it's about 12 issues for this whole series. So I'm unless they planned it from the start to be only 12, it seems like it wasn't going quite well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm kind of curious then like what the payoff is, because that's the only reason to have this in here for a payoff next issue, because it had nothing to do with the story.
But I don't.
Even the backup story had something eventually, even if it was crap.
But I don't know how I feel about that kind of shit. So like with this problem here is that we have literally 3 months of little clues of like literally a page or two thrown into to another series, and you're just like, I don't care about this necessarily. Like, I know that it's going to be paid off at some point, but why do we have to do this?
Without making it clear, like, what is this leading up to? Like, not
even that. Why do we always have to have some sort of
B plot?
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense in like a. No, but this wasn't even a B plot. I mean, I did say B story in my description at one point, but it's not really a B story, because a B story usually then comes up and joins the A story at the end,
or has some kind of relationship to it.
And with this, it's just so parallel to the story that it does not matter. I mean, you could literally read the entire book and skip those parts, and you would still understand everything that's going on.
Definitely, there was no connection. Not even the only connection was, I guess you could say, in the first part of it, in terms of they were reacting to the events of the previous volume. So like, okay, that has to do with Armstrong.
Yeah, but still, even then, I mean, you could have totally put that, at the end of this issue or this volume here. Yeah, at the end of the issue, yeah. It'd been like, oh, by the way, here's what's happening with Mary Maria.
Actually, you're right.
Because then we were immediately like, oh, then next month this is going to happen.
No, but you're right. If they somehow were to retool all of that, and as you said, have it at the end of this issue, that would work. Because then it's like, okay, we finished the main story, for whatever it's worth. Yeah. But I guess they wanted to end it with the whole, meeting the what's called.
Yeah, but that's still like that's the after credits sequence.
That's true.
Because we're not. What would you? Sorry. No, wouldn't it be so weird if, like, in the middle of the movie, they suddenly do like a tie-in for the next movie?
Every Marvel movie?
No, but like at the end they do that, but not in the middle of the movie.
No, you're right. It's because those were just Easter eggs that they
had. Yeah, it's Easter eggs.
Captain America's shield.
Yes, but it's just an Easter egg. It's not like the story of it. I mean, could you imagine?
But you're right. It would be like in Iron Man 2, having like a scene from 4 or something.
Yeah, I mean, you can have Coulson leave and say, "Hey, I'm going into the desert."
Yeah, but that leads to...
Yeah, because you're staying in that story.
Yeah, no, but as you said, it would be more like cutting. Like suddenly here's some shots from...
Yeah, could you imagine if we're watching Iron Man 2? They
kind of did in... I mean, again, it was the after credit scene, so it's fine. But it's kind of like the Doctor Strange one, because that scene with 4 was exactly shot for shot in the movie.
Yes, but that's what I mean. Like, that doesn't matter, because that was after the thing. But again, consider suddenly we're watching Iron Man 2... And then for whatever reason, we see Coulson arrive at in the desert, see the hammer, and say like, "All right, we got something here." And then we go back. It's like, no, we're interested in the story now, not this other one. Can you imagine like this whole thing, like an intercut between in the desert while they're setting up the like whole base around the hammer, like just in the middle of the Iron Man 2 storyline?
Yeah, because again, then it's not just it would be a sequel hook or, like a prep thing.
Yeah, but like a constant one.
Yeah, no, it would interrupt the main story, which wouldn't work.
And it's the same thing here. I mean, they didn't have this at the end because literally they had 3 stories per issue. It's because I was thinking, well, why don't you just put the Mary Maria stuff at the end? But no, they couldn't, because there was already a story there at the end. It's too much. Put it at the end of the last issue, so that then we know what's coming next issue.
Yeah, entice us.
Entice us for the next issue, not entice us for the issue that comes in 3 months.
Yeah, no, it is I'm not sure if it's good or bad with the fact that it's what are you saying? It's the ones that we're more conflicted on, where we actually talk about the comic.
Yeah.
I mean, there was no mention of Dragon Ball Z, only a little bit of Marvel at the end there.
Yeah.
So it's pretty good on us. All right, but let's then sum it up then in terms of a score and all that. Like, honestly, because I had a good laugh with a lot of it. But as I was complaining myself, it didn't quite have much substance or excel.
Yeah.
So this is on like being generous. I'm giving it 3 out of 5 because I feel it's fine. But honestly, based on the fact that not much happens, I kind of like in between, yellow red light.
Well, give it a red yellow light. The one. The one they have that. I don't know if they have that in Sweden or in Denmark, but they have it in Germany where they will show the yellow and the red light at the same time.
I've never seen that.
You never seen that?
Or maybe sometime if it was a mistake, I guess. But...
No.
All right, but that German thing. No, because we'll have to see with the next volume. Maybe those Russian circus people will show up again. So if that's the case, then yellow light in terms of, okay, if you want to know what's going on, sure. But otherwise, it wasn't really much of a point. I mean, and even though I liked the date issue, it's not really necessary. Like, honestly, if you just want that cute moment, buy that separate issue then on Comixology.
I don't know. Yeah. Well, I guess I'll give it a 2 out of 5 and a red light because I feel like you can totally skip this. And if you just read the previously on, in the next volume, you'll be up to speed with everything. Basically, all you need to know is that they went to a circus, found a midget, and are taking him along now. Total filler. Skip it in the Arch and Armstrong Kai.
Yeah, no, exactly. But I just want to put what's called credit where credit is due. 5 out of 5 and green light for Mike Norton. So the artist.
Oh, okay.
No, because I mentioned it a bit earlier, but really good art. I was a bit... Because I had issues with the previous artist and the previous volume, who did who did the backup segment. But at least it was very interesting. But this is more of the whole super solid, super like classic, but with that very cartoonish exaggeration within reason.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite kind of like styles.
All right. Well, you can discuss this episode on Reddit, tweet us, or you can follow us on Facebook. Also, all of our episodes are available on our hosting site, Podbean. Links are in the show notes. And we will be making our special episodes sometime this week, so keep a lookout for them. We don't know when they're going to go online, but they are going to go online at some point. Catch us next time for
Bloodshot Reborn, Volume 4, Bloodshot Island.